Hello and welcome to my very first devlog for my website. I'm going to try to upload daily as best as I can. This is the first one, so it's probably going to be the longest one just because I'm going to update you on everything I've done so far, which I've been working on this for like 2 weeks, 3-ish weeks. So there's a lot to do. And of course, this is my first website, so if you're a more senior website editor and all that, this might look awful and terrible to you. And honestly, just if you do end up seeing this and see any way to make this better, I mean, I'm taking suggestions. So yeah, I guess first I should start at the main.html. Standard. This is just so that I can use any characters I want. This just tells people when they visit the website who made it. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to make Roll20 but better. Roll20 is kind of like greedy and cash grabby. And I mean, I want to make money off of this, but it's a side thing, so whatever. Title classless, of course, this is in the works. I don't know if I really like it. Um, this website's going to be mainly for my tabletop RPG, but I want to, in the future, implement ways to play your own tabletop RPG. So that's why it's called classless right now. Um, but that also kind of like sounds like classless, like oh you have no class, and it doesn't really invoke the same sensation to me as you know Dungeons and Dragons. Like Dungeons and Dragons just sounds cool, whereas classless doesn't. I don't think so. Um, this just links this, and this just tells like people with visual readers that need help going through websites like the language. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I was just told to put it in there, and so at some point, this creates basically, and this should be in the body, but whatever, it still works with it not being in the body, so I don't really care. This creates at the top the navigation menu that you'll be using most of the time. Let's just show you what I'm talking about. So yeah, up here, this is the navigation menu. It's pretty much useless as of right now because I've only coded the cards part, but I'm getting to working on it. Like, if you hit skills, it at least takes you to a different thing now, and cards will take you back. And so yeah, but back to the code for yeah. I don't have a script or anything, so this is gonna be very wild. This makes those buttons you saw below the navigation menu with like the plus and like the right and the left and in the middle of the trash can. I know it's kind of hard to tell. You can't, and that's the trash can right there. Um, but it's temporary. Eventually, I'll probably add like just an image. Um, that will look better. But whatever. I'm just trying to get things to work right now. This you obviously can't see yet, but it basically holds the cards. Um, I'll probably get into cards and all of that for later in, but cards are basically like feats. If this was Pathfinder. And this just loads in the jQuery and the JavaScript. I haven't really used a lot of jQuery. A lot of it, I personally just thought like I know it's supposed to. I'm sure I'm using some things that it has, and I just don't even know it. But I think the way people write in jQuery is very unreadable, even for like coding. Like I've learned Python, I've learned Java. I'm in the middle of learning JavaScript, obviously, but like they use like dollar signs and stuff, and I'm just like, it just looks bad to me. I personally don't like it at all. I don't like that you have to use dollar signs. So I've tried to avoid it as much as I can, just because I think it looks ugly. Not that my code looks good, but yeah. And obviously, none of this is mine. I mean, none of the 10,000 lines, almost 11,000 lines of this is mine. This is mine. I only have like 500, so whatever. But yeah, so this loads it in after the everything's loaded in. I guess we could do the style next. Kind of bad, but so this is the body. It just makes it so that the everything doesn't go all the way out to the side. So that's why I do this, because I don't like when things I don't think anybody like it's the same with like if you have a Word document, like the words don't go all the way to the right, they don't touch the edge of the paper. I mean, you can change it so that, but the default doesn't do that. So yeah, there's a little bit of space. I think everybody likes that. Margin, yeah, there doesn't need to be margins really, because everything's contained in the body. So whatever. Background color, I mean, oh,
And
hey Vaj, I'm in the middle of recording my devlog, so
yeah,
I'll probably just keep this in because I'm not gonna edit it. Um,
continue.
yeah. So, you want to see what I'm talking about? Do you care at all?
Sure,
Okay.
sure. Let me see.
Um, I'm just explaining the code that I have so far. So here is the doc container. This holds all the cards. Didn't have this at first. It was a long process, but I figured out how grid works. Grid is so useful. I don't know why. I mean, grid's confusing, hard to figure out, especially for what I'm trying to do. But I did figure it out, and there's a lot of testing and playing with stuff. I mean, obviously, you can see it's not really the greatest. I don't even have rows because, well, for this, at the very least, it's only one row. It's always going to be one row, so I didn't need to make any rows. This just makes the buttons good and fit in the and look good in the container. So yeah, it moves them to the right places. So if I like got rid of this, obviously it would like be in the wrong spot. Header, I don't even know. I don't even remember. I think that's pretty much pointless. I'll probably eventually get rid of this. Doesn't matter. Navigation. Oh, that's for the top bit with the buttons that I said that were useless earlier. This, I wish I just used grid again, but this was before I learned how to use grid, so I'm doing this. I'll probably eventually fix it and not make it so terrible, but yeah. This just all of this is for like stuff you haven't really seen yet. It's not really anything crazy. It just sets columns in the grid or sets colors really. The only thing that is good is the dot show, which makes something work later. Okay. I'm now moving on to the actual website and showing how it works. So now we have this, as I showed before, all that. I haven't actually checked if everything works after I hit this card button because I just implemented that. So we'll see. Obviously not. So we'll just reload. Yeah, I'm trying to get this to work, but it's a hassle, obviously. But it works when I don't click that button, so that's cool. you can add this. You can move this over. You can delete it. Um, at the top, it's gonna like so like the cards are like something you equip in my tabletop RPG. So like on the left side it's unequipped, right side it's equipped. Eventually I'll add like all that, but it's kind of unnecessary right now. It wouldn't even take that much time, but whatever. I don't need to. So yeah, you can add them with these buttons. You can move them with the arrow buttons, and you can even delete them with the trash button. But that's all I've added so far.
Are you able to like highlight a specific one to move over?
Yeah,
Like the one in the middle instead of the.
yeah.
Because whenever you just click the arrow itself, it just moved the bottom one without anything highlighted. Right.
Nah. If I click the arrow just by itself, it'll give me an error. Watch. So if I just, yeah, because there's nothing selected, so it errors out. Which eventually I'll have to fix that.
What's wrong with that error? Does it make everything stop working then?
It doesn't make it honestly, it'll still work even after the error. Everything. Oh, I don't know. Obviously not.
Pain.
Um,
Suffering.
yeah. Eventually I'll have to fix that, but whatever. I don't really care.
All right.
Let's see. Does it? Yeah. Basically, why it errors out is because nothing's selected, and the way I have the arrow work is it checks for what's selected, and then it uses this document.get element by ID, but and then it like tries to find something, but since there's nothing defined, which is why it says is null, so then it errors out, and then it probably starts to like do code. I don't know how much of the code it does. 217. Yeah, I don't have every line memorized. So yeah, it starts to do code, but whenever it errors out, it'll stop doing the code from that point. So that's probably why it messes it up afterwards too. Yeah. But onto the actual code part and not just the website. Let me just switch screens for you and my recording. I will probably make this better after the first one, but again, this is just for my documentation, so I don't really care if anybody watches this. So here is the real code. This just makes it so that it doesn't run any of this code until the page loads, because if it like started like running stuff, it could error out and mess everything up, as we've seen with errors. These are all just variables that I can use anywhere in the document. Very useful. This function is what creates the cards, as you can see, but it really doesn't do much. It just restates this because of a reason I figured out earlier, and I'll explain later. And then it just does like a bunch of other functions, and then it just increases this so that we know how many cards are on the screen or have been created.
So how many pluses are there? How many cards are there?
No, the plus is just shorthand for like +1. I could also do plus equals 1, which would mean add 1, but plus is like easier. Yeah, faster.
More efficient, one could say.
Yeah. Then we have create e card, which just means like create equipped card. It does the same 3-4 things, but then it increases the mount card, but then it needs to move it to the right because the equipped cards are on the right. So this happens. Which don't really need to get into it that much. It selects the card, and then it moves that card, and then it makes the selected card from before the same selected card, so that things don't get weird. Because if just because of how I use selected card later, if I don't reset what selected card was, it errors out basically. I mean, end of the day, it just errors out. This is pretty much. I tried to make a class for this. I might keep this though. I don't use it at all yet. Um, yeah. So far, I found no reason to use it. This is the create title. A lot of like this code right here, I don't need anymore. But when I was first learning how things worked in JavaScript, this was the first function I made. So there's there. Yeah. This creates a button, and then this. Oh yeah, that's useless. This.
Why is it there then?
I just haven't deleted it. I mean, I could, but I don't know. I'm very wary. Yeah, wary of deleting code because sometimes it deletes, and testing things like bug testing is annoying. It takes a lot of time, like at least a minute now. So it's just like, whatever. Now, if it works, it works. We'll optimize later. Is my thinking. So yeah. So basically, amount card. Since I was trying to do stuff with classes early on, I kept amount card at 0 because it would be sent into this card array. And arrays start at 0 rather than 1, so I need the amount card to be at 0. So then I create a second variable, which is current card, and it's just it's to use it for everything that isn't in that array. So yeah. Then this is just so that I can use the dot get element by ID because this is the ID of the card. I kind of don't need this if then, if else, or if and then else anymore because it kind of does the same thing nowadays. Whatever. Yeah, but this just sets the ID, sets the class, puts this in the card container, like makes it a child, and then just puts it in the right row so that it doesn't all just sit on top of each other. But yeah, that's creating the title.
That's just the title.
That's just the title. That's just yeah, that's just the title.
So it's like the part that says classless in the top left.
No, that's here. Let me show you. I won't switch the screen for the actual whatever. It's this part. It's that.
Oh, just the name of the card.
It's the name.
The blue part.
Yeah. Which actually is a button like in Roll20, so you'll be able to click on it and it'll like roll and whatever.
Oh, yeah,
eventually.
Yeah.
That's why it's a button. You just can't really see that's being clicked because I don't have code for that yet.
And it's not highlighting or anything or
yeah,
changing animations. Or...
Yeah, but that's who needs that end of the day, you know?
I'll get it eventually.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, I will. Okay. Oh yeah, I need to switch you back. God. This is definitely gonna be the longest devlog. Okay, create dropdown. I hate this one so much. So this is when I learned how to use this is when I learned how to copy and paste this because basically when you add an element via HTML, you can just put this, and when that element is clicked, you can make it go to a function and do a function, and it'll work great. But if you can't really do that in JavaScript for some reason, something with like the DOM. I don't really completely understand it. All I know is I have to use this instead of how I was doing it. Made me want to kill myself. In a video game because I'm uploading this to YouTube. This is just a bunch of variables, just creating, and like that puts an arrow in the drop down. Bunch of variables. Yeah.
So is there
This.
like a code for like switching your mouse to what is clickable and not, or like
You mean like when it turns into like the
a
hand?
hand? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's done in here. It doesn't actually. It doesn't actually. The hand doesn't actually make things clickable. Technically, you can click anything anywhere on a website. It's
yeah,
just whether or not it does
to
something.
indicate. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's usually what that's yeah proper etiquette to make things look like it's clickable. Or you can make it like change colors. That's usually a good indication.
Hmm.
Or both. Usually both is best. This is interesting. Because I have to there since there's like actual the cards in this drop down because like you click the drop down and then it has to show all the cards that are in the card list. This creates that. It's a for loop. My first for loop. Wow. This just God. A lot of this is copied. I'm gonna admit it's just terrible. I hated doing this because the tutorial I was following did it all in here, which is a lot easier because you can just like it's like a lot more visible on how to do it. Whereas this, you have to like use code to just do what would take like 5 letters in here. It's a hassle, a lot bigger of a hassle, but it's needed. Yeah, this just like sets classes. It's the same thing as the title, but slightly more complicated, I guess. As you can see, it's a bit longer. This one's really short. It just creates the description, which is empty, so it doesn't really matter. This one's interesting because I create a box for the image to go into, and then I create the actual image, which goes in that box. Yeah, that's the only thing interesting about this one. Oh, okay. So this is when we get to like the actual like so show content basically has to find the card that has been clicked and show the like the card names, all the ones you can click and to change the card. So we use this right here to find the like thing that's been clicked, but that's kind of useless. So I don't know how this has been working with that, but oh well. There's a typo there. Then this checks to see if it's an equipped card because all equipped cards in their IDs have this little asterisk, which is the multiplication symbol, but since it's in these parentheses, we're fine. And then it finds the card. But if it doesn't have that, that means it's unequipped and it finds the card. And then it toggles the show, which, as I said, was the only interesting CSS over here at some point. Then we have drop click, which is pain. It's pain. So that one just showed the content. This is what happens when you actually like click a name. So like if you clicked Acid Splash, it changes the card into Acid Splash. It's kind of a similar code. Like it checks if it's an equipped or not, but just more. Oh, and also it like here it checks every card name And if that's right, is so the card names are like in an array, and in another array is the descriptions, and they're put at the same index. So if
Yep.
you find the correct index for the title, oh, you're echoing.
Oh, sorry, my dad.
It's fine. But if you find the correct index, I'm just gonna mute him real quick. If you find the correct index for the title, then that means it's the correct index for the description and the correct index for the picture, because they're all the right index, the same index in different whatever arrays. Hello. Okay, I think we're good. Next is move card.
Dad.
Ooh.
Dad. Hey, Dad.
Move card is. We're gonna mute him again. Move card is. Oh boy. This was like a fever dream coding this. As you can tell, I got really lazy with the variable names at this point. I mean, there's like a million in this one alone, so it's like naming each one. And the variables change a lot too on top of that, so it's just like not worth naming them, at least right now. Okay, so this finds the card and gets all the important bits and sends them to the right side of the screen. By like adding a new class, and that class changes what part of the grid they're on, and then it it changes the elements to an equipped one now. Like everything, like even here it changes the title's name. Here, if there's already an E card, it moves it to the bottom, whatever. Then this moves everything up. Like all the unequipped cards, it moves it up because everything after the equipped card, it moves up. Or the selected card, it moves to the equipped side. So everything that's below that now equipped card needs to move up, basically. So it does that. And then this unequips it because there's problems if it stays equipped, because technically the selected card was for the unequipped card. Like the name of the selected card was for the unequipped card, so I could just change it to the equipped card, but that would be a hassle. I guess it wouldn't be that bad. But I decided to opt for just unequipping it. We'll see how I feel about that, considering I just thought of a way to change it maybe, but yeah. That's moving card, which is funny because it's before select card, which it uses select card. As you can tell, again, I got very, very lazy with. They're all local variables, so it doesn't matter really, but yeah. So here it checks, is there a selected card? If it's nothing, then there's not a selected card. So you go in, and then you gotta check, was the card that was just clicked on, was it an equipped card, or was it not an equipped card? If it was not an equipped card, you can go ahead and do things normally, because up here it makes these variables the unequipped. But if it's equipped, we gotta change those variables to the equipped ones, and then we toggle the class, which makes it look equipped, or selected, which really the only thing that makes it selected is this, really. This line right here. So, yeah. Yeah. Then we have delete card, which just finds everything of the selected card and just removes it, which is actually just like 4 elements because a lot of things are children of the parent element, so it's like whatever. And then it has to move everything that was below it. Again, this, you've already seen this code. Moves it all up. Let me do that. This does what move card does, but it does the opposite. It moves the equipped card back to the unequipped. And this is the more easy part, which isn't really finished. And it's a little more organized than the past couple of things, because I'm going to try to keep my code organized. As you can see, all the initialized variables are at the top, then all the appendages, then all the class names, then all the functions for clicking, all the insertion. Before, like, this might be, like, this I might have down here or whatever, because, like, I wanted everything that had to do with add one, I wanted it next to each other, but I think that's harder to read, honestly. So I changed it up with the one, and I think it looks a lot neater now. So yeah, but that's everything for this one. So good job, me.